Good morning, Lampasas. This is Daryl Brooks. With me is Coach Troy Rogers, and we're going to talk about some football. Well, we were going to talk about some football. Unfortunately, this game this week got canceled. China Spring had to cancel. They had some cases of COVID-19, and so the game got canceled. And Coach, you found out about it, I think, Monday or Tuesday when you found out about it. How's the week been this week trying to find somebody?
It's been a long week. I got a phone call Monday evening that was a possibility, and then it got confirmed Tuesday morning, and then we told our team an athletic period about 11:45, and we've been looking for games since, and just no luck. No luck. It's just been tough. I mean, we've searched all over from Pecos to Henderson to South Texas. I mean, even tried to reach out to a school in Oklahoma just to see if anyone would be able or willing to play, and just didn't work out.
Well, you said all year that you got to treat this season like every game could be your last, and unfortunately, you kind of found that out this week. How did the players kind of react to that?
They're resilient. They were upset. We talked about it. I said it's okay to be upset. You can have those emotions and those feelings, and that's healthy. I said, but just don't hang on to them. Let it go. And the goal was to find a game, and now the goal is to try to find a game on October 2nd when we have our bye week. So that's going to be the plan moving forward, is to see if anyone's going to be able to play that week.
Well, we were going to talk about the China Spring game. Unfortunately, that game is canceled. Let's talk a little bit about the program. Let's talk about, we've talked a lot about the varsity, of course. We talk about them every week. Let's talk about some of the other programs. Let's start with the JV and then talk about the freshmen. Talk about the JV and what you're seeing there, and because they're going to be the future, and so is the freshmen. Talk about them and what we got to see in the future.
Yeah, well, I tell you, going back from the JV, this year we're a little bit light on the numbers on JV. We've got 23 seniors on varsity, which is way, I think we had 15 the last couple of years and 14 before that. So, I think that kind of shows the growth in the program with the 23 seniors. The problem is right now we're just light in some of those sophomore, junior classes. We don't have a lot of guys out. And so we're carrying about 20 right now on the JV. We've moved up a couple freshmen to kind of fill in some spots, some guys that can play multiple sides, multiple positions, and they've only got one game at that, because we brought them up last week, and then we were of course excited to see them this week, but that didn't get to happen. But no, our JV is kind of the lifeblood. I mean, they're working with the varsity day in and day out, hand in hand. They're our scout team. I think the last 2 years our JV has won district, and you can see how that translates. When they win district, it just propels us to another successful or quality football team the next year when they're on varsity. And so I'm really proud of those guys. They work hard. They do everything we ask of them, and they're just a part of the, they're just as much a part of the program as anyone else. Same with the freshmen. And we every year, we practice those guys together a lot. We try not to do too much. We don't bang on the freshmen very much, but we get our hands on them, and we get to coach them, and they get to be around those older guys and see how things are. And this year, really proud of them. Our numbers are good. We're around 40 on the freshman level, and last year we were at like 30. So we got a little bit more this year, and we've got about 10 of those guys sticking around when their practice is over with to help practice with the varsity and JV. So that's exciting to see those guys want to stick around and do that.
Well, is there any of the guys that are kind of standing out to you that you've seen? Any individual players that kind of stand out on any of those teams?
Well, it's hard to pinpoint it. I mean, it's one of those deals where they're all playing multiple sides of the ball. I mean, we've got guys that are, predominantly offensive guys, but they're also playing on defense, and that's really what we want. We want well-rounded athletes at those levels. We want guys that can play both sides of the ball, and then we can evaluate them on both sides, and then we'll see where they, as they mature and learn the game and become better players overall, we'll see where they plug in on the varsity. But as far as pinpointing any of them out, I mean, there's several of them that I think are doing a really good job, and like I said, we've only got to see them a few times, and really excited about seeing what they're going to do the rest of the year.
Now, your middle school, they're the ones that feed your high school? I know you haven't had a chance to really see them. They've only played one game. So kind of talk about them a little bit, but specifically talk about them running the same program. I mean, that's kind of the key. Is if I could be wrong, but they basically run the same thing that the varsity runs. So by the time you get to high school, they're at least familiar with it. So talk about that. If I'm correct, talk about that and the importance of that.
Yeah, we have five coaches down at the middle school, and Colin Stiffelmeyer is our middle school boys coordinator, and he started his second year with us, and he's doing a great job. We actually start even younger than that because, we have a pre-athletics, sixth grade has a pre-athletics period, and so, we incorporate everything that we do from all of our sports, football, basketball, volleyball, across the board. We get to start teaching them how we do things in athletics, and so that pre-athletics class has been great in sixth grade, and even going back, even in younger than that, BBYL, Paul Weinheimer leads that up, and every year we give those BBYL football coaches a clinic, and we talk about our drills and our terminology, and we, just kind of our philosophies, and so we've been doing that, for the last 5 years as well. So really, everyone who's playing football in Lampasas is running our stuff. They're using our terminology. They're talking all our philosophy, and those BBYO coaches do a great job. I mean, those kids are young and they're excited, and they're the first ones to get their hands on those guys and get them to love football, and I think they do a great job with it, and those kids get excited about getting to play for the Badgers in 7th grade. And like I said, that 7th grade program is the lifeblood of everything that we do. You want a vertically aligned program, and then you hear that in education, vertical alignment, but it's no different than in athletics. The more you can get with those younger guys and teach them the ways of what we do, the terminology is a big deal, and it just makes it that much easier when they get up through the ranks.
Well, the group you have this year and kind of last year was kind of the first groups you had where you had them all the way from freshmen and maybe junior high till they're juniors and seniors. Talk about the progression. I know year one, you went 1-9, but you had a brand new system. No one was used to it, and they got it. And then year two, you got a little better. And then year 3 and year 4, and then you're finally starting to get the type of program you want to see. Talk about that progression.
Well, it just takes time. I think the biggest thing is time. I mean, it's a culture change. It's an offensive, defensive scheme change. It's everything. It's an overhaul of everything when we got here. And I don't like to talk about things about, were things bad. It's not about what it was. It's about what it is. And it just took a change of mindset. The guys believing in themselves. And really, to me, the biggest thing is probably the weight room. We make a commitment to the weight room. We work out. We're going to be in there 4 days a week during the season, and it used to be 5 days, and now we're doing yoga on Saturdays instead of lifting. But we make when the season's over and we go into off-season mode, we lift 5 days a week, and we'll do that for about probably 5 to 6 weeks straight. Where we're just we're going 5 days a week of lifting, and it's a commitment that we made, and I think you see the progress being made in our kids. I mean, they're stronger, they're bigger, they're faster, they have confidence, and it's one thing to run certain schemes or talk a good game, but when you can look in the mirror and you can see physical changes being made, those kids get excited about that, and they believe in it. And so, we don't have bad days in the weight room. I think that's probably the biggest change with anything is the fact that those kids believe in it and they buy into it, and we're seeing the progress and the results.
You mentioned yoga. What does yoga do for you? I'm just asking.
Right, yeah, no, it was, it's kind of a funny thing that it's kind of becoming a lot more commonplace nowadays. That's a great, post-game activity as opposed to the traditional, let's go run a lot of wind sprints and then let's go lift and get a light lift on and do that for recovery. Now, we come in, we get a stretch on, we get a few strides in, and then we go and we get yoga for about 40 minutes. And it's just, it's a great way to get that, and it is an exercise. I've done it myself a few times, and it's a workout, especially for a guy like me. But, for those kids, it's a great way to stretch those muscles out and get that soreness out without having to to do anything, in the weight room as far as lifting and anything like that. So it's been something that we've been doing. This is the third year we've done it, and the kids really have bought into it. And we actually did it during summer conditioning this year. They let us do Fridays, so they let us go 5 days a week. And so Fridays were reserved for yoga days. And so that was a good thing to get added in our summer conditioning.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed over the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of posting about polls. Where are we ranked in the poll? There's an argument. People think we should be number one. My personal opinion on it is the polls only matter after the last game is played. That's my personal opinion. I don't know what your opinion is on it. So just what do you think about it? I know this year we've been ranked high. It gives us some recognition, but what's your opinion about the polls?
My opinion is what polls? I mean, I know it's out there, but I mean,
it's really a fan thing.
It
more than
is.
anything else, so they can talk about it.
Right. I mean, it's like I know that there's message boards out there, and there's all kinds of places that you can go and beat your chest, but it's like we tell the kids, the only place that you're going to prove yourself is in between the lines on a Friday night. I mean, that's the only place that it matters. And so, we try to talk about, let's not get involved in the media, the rankings, or because, when you're doing well, they love you and you're going to hear a lot of good stuff. When you do bad, they're going to hear a lot of bad stuff. And honestly, you need to block it all out and just focus on us. And that's always been our mindset, and that's the way we go about it. I mean, there's never been one time I've ever mentioned any rankings or anything at all to our kids or point spreads or anything. I mean, that's for outside the field house.
Another question I had, we're at a smaller school. What's your philosophy or belief on kids playing multiple sports? I mean, when you get into a big school, it's like play football only or basketball only. But at a smaller school, it's kind of tough to do that. But what's your philosophy on that?
Well, I'm a big believer in playing multiple sports. I think that's something that you have to do. College coaches don't want specialization. They'll be the first ones to tell you. You hear college baseball coaches are always talking about, we want multi-sport guys. I mean, Ace Whitehead has a scholarship to Texas to play baseball, and the first thing that they knew about Ace Whitehead was he was a quarterback. And so, they love that about him. And that's the thing that we try to tell these guys is that, if you specialize, one, you get burned out, and you're not showing your range of athleticism. I mean, from a football player to go play basketball, you're showing a whole other side of your athleticism by doing that. And then to go play baseball or run track or wrestle or do whatever. And the same thing with the girls' side, volleyball to basketball to soccer to, any of those things, softball, they're all important to go play. And in a school our size, we don't have a lot of just, top tier athletes. So we need our athletes to go play multiple sports so all of our teams can be successful or at least have a fighting chance. And, and it's hard sometimes because some guy, you see it where they kind of get in their mind they want to play one thing. But I think, in Lampasas we do a good job. Our coaches do a great job of pushing it, and they work together real well on making sure that, if a kid wants to play multiple things, we're going to work with them and make sure they can get to those practices and stuff like that.
All right, Coach. Well, unfortunately, no game tonight. Hopefully we have one next week. I believe it's homecoming, and we're playing Gatesville. It is in Lampasas. Well, since we have no game, we have nothing to talk about Monday morning, so we won't have a show Monday, but we will have one Friday morning. Hopefully, we'll have a game next Friday. So with that, we're going to say have a good week, be safe, stay away from this disease, and let's have another game next week. See you later, guys.
See you.
1019 KACQ.